Hi everyone, it's me, Arielle, and Tumblr here, and it's Wednesday Warriors. Stinky poo cat. Tumblr boy. I'm gonna be on YouTube, Tums. Tumblr, buddy. How your relationship with yourself affects your relationship with others. And I want to touch on some things like self-esteem, which we've talked about a lot in the past, personal fears, self-hate, vulnerability, dishonesty with yourself, all of that good stuff. A good relationship with yourself is so important to an overall well-being, and a relationship with yourself is a work in progress always, because we're always learning new things about ourselves and we're always discovering new things about ourselves, and our relationship is something that progresses over time as we live and grow. Self-esteem, confidence, things like that certainly play a part in the way we perceive ourselves and the way that we think others perceive us, and that all gets wrapped up in trust and friendships and other relationships and the things we choose to disclose or discuss. I'll post the links to some videos that I've done in the past in regards to self-esteem and confidence. Some of them are quite old, so the video quality is not quite up to par, but hopefully you can glean some helpful things from them. I think a lot of the time with eating disorders, it's really hard to trust ourselves because we've almost learned sometimes to distrust ourselves, and we put our trust in things we shouldn't, like the eating disorder or like other people that maybe are abusive or unkind to us. Where we put our trust in maybe ideas or inanimate objects that really aren't worthy of our trust. You know, we trust a number on a scale, for example. We give power to things that we really shouldn't be giving power to. And in doing so, we are relinquishing our own power. We're having some of our power drained from ourselves. I think we can learn to trust ourselves more by really just sitting alone with ourselves in solitude, asking ourselves the right questions. What do I want? What goals am I shooting for? Who do I want to have around me? What things do I want to surround myself with? You have to ask the questions in order to get the answers. The answers won't just come to you like magic, fall right in your lap. You have to be able to ask yourself the right things. And if you do take the time and put in the energy to ask yourself those things, you might be surprised how easily the answers come. You can ask yourself these things just by writing in a journal. See what comes to the page as you're writing. You can ask yourself these things in prayer. You can ask yourself these things out loud. I talk to myself in my car sometimes. I probably sound kind of nutty. But you can talk to yourself just in your own mind. Just before you go to sleep at night, lying there in bed, ask yourself what you need, what you want, what your goals are, where you want to go with this, why you don't trust yourself, why you don't trust certain people. Just really try to be conscious, really try to be aware of what's inside of you. It sounds so simple, and in essence it is, but the problem is we forget to do it. We actually don't remember that we need to ask ourselves these things. We actually don't remember that we need to take the time to sit just alone with ourselves. Some of the reason for that could be that we really don't like ourselves, so we don't want to spend time with ourselves. We want to keep busy doing things, every second of every day until we drop and go to sleep and wake up to do it again tomorrow, because we don't want to be faced with what we might see if we hold that mirror up to ourselves or if we go within. Sometimes what we find can be scary, but sometimes it's necessary, because once you kind of climb over that rock that's in your path, you can keep going on the path. You can keep going. You don't have to be on the other side of that rock wondering, how am I ever going to get over this? I think I'll just wait here because it's going to be too much work to climb over this rock. Climbing over the rock can be pretty taxing, pretty stressful. It can take a lot of energy. Sometimes it can take a lot of time. But when you get to the other side of the rock and you have that whole nice, free, empty path ahead of you, you get to keep going. It's going to be easier from there if you put the effort to do the hard stuff instead of putting it off and avoiding it. I think one of the big reasons that people are afraid to disclose their eating disorders to others, or just discuss their eating disorders with others, if it is with people who are aware somewhat of the problem, is because they feel that it will make them too vulnerable. And vulnerability is a tricky little emotion. And I think the more at peace you are with yourself, the more confident you are with yourself, the better you will be able to handle the emotion that is vulnerability when you're with others, because vulnerability is scary, but it's what creates that raw human connection. If we don't allow ourselves to be a little bit vulnerable, just a little bit, we really won't be able to have any kind of connection with other human beings. And as humans, we do sort of crave that a lot of the time. And, human connection means different things for different people. And it doesn't mean having 100 relationships. It can mean having one meaningful relationship. But without some sort of vulnerability, you won't achieve the very beauty that is the human relationship. So if you're willing and able to work on your vulnerability with yourself first, when you get to the point where you want to have meaningful discussions with other people, or talk about your eating disorder with certain people in your life, you'll be not only better prepared, but you will already be somewhat familiar with what vulnerability feels like, so it won't be so threatening and scary, and you can kind of ease into it, sort of like there's a lake, and instead of just jumping right in and being completely submerged all the way to the bottom, or diving in head first, you kind of get to put your toes in and then your feet, and work in up to your calves and your knees, and sink into the water at your own pace. And I think vulnerability is kind of like that, because it's a big scary shock to the system if you jump in all at once, but if you sort of ease into it, it does feel not safe, but familiar enough that you can handle it. And we are all equipped to handle vulnerability. We can't trick ourselves into thinking that we're not cut out for it. We all have bravery and boldness within us. We just have to tap into that. It's there. It's waiting. I hope you all have enjoyed our 4-week rotation on relationships with others, disclosure, discussion of eating disorders, trust, people who are not family members, who are not friends, and then those that are, and the relationship that you have with yourself. I hope you're all doing well out there. Have a great week, and I will see you next time.